Hey guys, through here with another vid for Blender, and this one's gonna be a critique of work sent by Jellycube. You can find him on @Jellycube3D on Instagram. So thanks so much for sending the work, appreciate it, mate. So let's rip it to shreds, shall we? He asked me to do it, so there you go. Just 2 words before we start. This kind of a critique is a normal thing on our Patreon, starting from tier 2, so tier 2 and tier 3, and they're really fun to do. We had quite a lot of them last month, like 4 or 5, so a lot, but they're fun to do. I like them. You know, we all learn from this, including us. It's a really great experience, and I think everyone benefits from it, so it's fantastic, I think, for the community and for everyone, really. So anyway, if you like this kind of a thing, and you know, just check our Patreon. We have some awesome perks, and that's just one of them, one of many. And the link to our Patreon is in the video description, so have a look. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's first of all look at the renders. So there are things about, you know, I like about this work, and I think we could, you know, do a bit differently. So first of all, what I like about it is the idea, right? So an idea of a corridor, and somewhere in space, and there's some maintenance going on, which is pretty cool. So it adds some interest, some drama. We got some stars outside, so we can see in space, so there is kind of a storytelling in it. And you know, basically it's a sci-fi corridor, right? And also the cool thing about this is that the shading is really clean, man. I mean, you know, it's a very nicely done clean modeling, right? Now, the things I don't like about it is that, first of all, it's way too much detail, okay? These walls are just, you know, overloaded, and we're gonna fix it in due time. But second thing is that the framing is completely off, and I know you're posting this on Instagram, but as I like to call it, but you know, just don't do these square framings, because they're bloody awful. I mean, you know, maybe portraits look good in this format, but that's about it, you know. It should be something like this, you know, right? 16 by 9 preferably, okay, or something even wider than that, but you know, at least 16 by 9, or at least 4 by 3, but you know, one by 1 is just not acceptable. It looks claustrophobic, and I'll show you later a better render with a better angle, and you know, just different framing. So anyway, this would be it. Also, it's a little bit dark, yeah. I mean, this one is too dark, so we're gonna simply remove this completely. And this one is, you know, it's not too bad, but it's kind of clinical, so it's a bit dark in corners. I think it's a bit too dark. I don't know if we're reaching pure black or not, but we could, you know, test it. Yeah, that's pure black, you see. This is not good, right? So you don't want that. So well, you know, we're gonna talk about it. So anyway, let's grab a blend scene and, you know, see what's happening, right? So first of all, let's unlock this camera here. So let's just leave the camera view. Like I said, detail. I mean, if you look at this wall, there's literally no place to breathe, you know. There's just like no space left for anything, even a bug. So, you know, to walk on the wall. It's just way too much detail, right? So what I would do, literally, I would simply remove all these, right? Because I would just be redoing it from scratch. Another thing is that some of these details are repetitive, and this is not really the best way to handle detail, because you want to add some symmetry breakage, okay? So if you repeat everything, it's just, you know, human brains are recognizing patterns, and these are clear patterns, yeah, repeating one after another, and it just introduces this feeling of boredom, yeah. It just brain gets bored with it, yeah. You need to break the symmetry. It's like eating a good dinner, and after that you have a lunch. I mean, that's dessert, right? So you eat a good dinner, then you have something sweet afterwards, just to break the taste. This is literally the same thing, okay? So I would probably remove the middle part here. So let's go to, where's my side view? Here. that's the one. And let's grab this and Control L and delete it. And also I'm gonna enable my screencast keys so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. So that's that. I would probably remove one of these. I mean, it's really too, you know, too much. Yeah, way too much. So let's just remove them. All right, that's better. I'm not gonna be fixing these, but basically what I'll do, I'll just close these off. And you know, this looks a bit more relaxed. Yeah. Another thing that I don't like is these, you know, these bolts here, whatnot. So if this was a floor, right, the last thing you want to do, okay, is to have you know, these sticking out elements, because you know you could just trip. This is not safe, right? You just, you could trip over it. Is this a procedural? Wait a minute, boolean bevel. Let me see that. Ah, there we go. Instead of boolean like this, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna mod scroll toggle and we're gonna shift it, okay? So we're gonna shift it to cut and then we're going to solidify it, right? Okay, where's the cutters? Shift 2. There we go. So something like that, you know. I'm not gonna be fixing this because, you know, no point, but you get the idea, right? So now they still visible, but you know, you can walk on them and you're not gonna trip over. Also, if I were you, I would just you know, break this pattern, you know. So instead of, for example, having everything the same, right, I would simply introduce like a 1 or 2 rows different, okay, like in the middle or something, or maybe on sides, whatever. Then you got scale problem as well, because you know, if you look at the window, right, and you look at this crate, I mean, this crate is almost size of the window. There's no way that a human, right, always use a scale reference in your work. Yeah. So let's grab a cube, right? If this was a human, right, you know, I mean, the window looks kind of big, and you know, these tanks and walls look more or less, you know, maybe a little bit smaller like that, right? Something like that, okay? There's no way a human could lift this thing, okay? So there's no way a human or even two could lift this thing, right? If this was made of metal, you know, this would weight like a ton, right? It's just the size of a bloody car. So, you know, you always need to think about scale. So, you know, proper scaling, right, would be something maybe, right? Maybe like this, okay? Something like this, or maybe a bit longer. Yeah, so where is this axis here? Something like this, right? Maybe. Okay, this would make sense. Okay, so you know, you want to rethink this this path here, make it a little bit different, right? So that's that. But you know, I like the idea of this being lifted and sort of there's something happening in here, some drama, right? So that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's go back to our scene. So, you know, if I was modeling this, right, what I would do probably, let me just see this in Eevee very quickly. Right. I'm not sure about this, you know. I'm gonna remove it too. Yeah. It's really dark here. Holy shit. This is pitch black. I think this is pitch black. Now, if this is pitch black, I'll tell you another problem with this material, right? Where is this material? Yeah, that's pitch black. Look at this. It's pitch black. So the problem with pitch black, right, is that the pitch black floor or pitch black whatever doesn't reflect light, okay? It absorbs all light. So the last thing you want is things to be pitch black, okay? You want them to be, you know, dark, but not pitch black. This is just a bad idea, okay? So don't make stuff pitch black, you know. Dark is okay, pitch black isn't, right? So, you know, this should be fine here. It's a little bit dark, but it should be fine. So, let's talk about this wall, right? So if I was, you know, modeling this thing, right, what I would do probably is grab a box and go to view cut and select this and, you know, slice it here like that. Go to knife with box cutter, grab this face, okay, and then shift curve extracted outside, okay, so a little bit outside like this, right? And that's good. Go to end gone and let's, you know, let's have some fun here. So let's change it here. In fact, before we do anything, let's select all these verts and Control B them. Control Shift B, I'm sorry. And there we go. And let's cut it here maybe a little bit. And now watch the way I'm gonna cut it, okay? I'm gonna cut it asymmetrically, and this is really important, right? You wanna introduce some, asymmetrical cuts, or asymmetrical elements that will simply break the whole, the whole boredom of the situation, right? So I'm gonna do something like this here, cut it off and select both of them and apply bevel, right? Not a difference, that's not what I want to do. I wanted to apply weighted normals here. There we go, right? So you see now this looks already much more interesting, and kind of works with the bottom, because the bottom is quite heavy on details, right? And so is the top. Top is just still too much detail in my opinion. I will literally remove these and maybe leave it like that for the time being. But instead of these complicated elements here, just make something more simple. Add the booleans in here. They're not shit. You applied everything. Well, let me see this. Control L. Yeah, this is joined. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna be fixing this, but I'll probably prefer just a plain like a panel here. So let me just see this if I can fix this. Let's just remove these and remove these, right? And select these and these. So let's grab the W selection and just select everything here inside. All right. Okay. All right, and then faces, right? And then simply select this edge and fill it, and this should be much better. Yeah, so if you did something like this, okay, and just remove it, and we go into a radius, right? You know what I mean? It's just a little bit more calm. Also the bottom, like I will remove these cuts, just leave ones on the top, etc, etc. Also everything here needs a bevel, because this is not beveled, right? So all these screws need bevels, and it's like I said, just too many of them, right? Just go easy. Like here too, it's just too much detail. So by the way, I would maybe add something here. So let's add scene lights, because scene lights, there we go. And let's grab some decal here. I'm doing this critique second time, by the way, guys, because my Camtasia didn't record my voice. I don't know what the hell happened. Some error probably. Let's grab these. This one will be okay, and let's adjust it and make it smaller and drop it somewhere here, and maybe let's change the color of it to something whitish or brighter, but not too bright, something like that. Yeah, that will do. Also, another thing is that you're using a lot of colors, and this is a problem too, right? You want to use colors, it's cool, but don't overdo it, because then you just have no idea where to look. Like, if I was coloring this, right, this one would be, most likely gray. So this is, this is okay to be colorful, right? And probably I would make it less crazy, okay? So maybe not as saturated, right? Okay, see what I mean? So something like this. And maybe that's a bit too dull. Maybe a bit more saturation, and maybe a bit more rough. Okay. Something like that, okay? And, so not everything is just red, or colorful, because it's just too much. You just don't know where to look. It's, it's overload, system overload. And then if I was detailing this, right, this is important. You don't want to put details everywhere, okay? You want to put them and also scale them accordingly so they actually fit, right? You don't want to overdo this, you see. So let's just project these, right? And then we're gonna change color here to something darker, so they visible, right? But not really. Also, we're going to darken down this panel, and we're gonna grab this one, and we're gonna add some new colors. So Alt M and blank material, and we're gonna make it a bit brighter, but not as bright. Okay. All right. So there is a difference between these two panels, right? But it's not too crazy, right? Not too striking. So this one a little bit brighter, maybe like this, something like that. Yeah. So this one is brighter, this one is darker. It looks pretty cool. Okay. And then we could, for example, add some kind of a detail here. So you want to concentrate detail in a certain area. Okay. So when there's a detail in here already, we can actually, you know, play with it. So let's go to box, and let's select this, and maybe do something like this, and we could cut it through and then solidify it like this, right? And was it Shift 5 or Shift? What was it? Shift 4. There we go. Then I'm going to place some other element here. Before I do that, I think I might actually sharpen this. Select this face, Control plus, add material, and maybe add this grayish material that we have on the top. So, you know, something like that, maybe, and the sign. And that's the wrong color. What color is this? Material 05. So remove this one and add another one, and this one assign. There you go. So you see, this matches this wall, and this one is just like a framing for it. And then we can put some stuff in it. Okay, so turn off the box cutter, and let's go with some, I don't know, some vent or whatnot, like this, right? You know, like a small one. Okay, this could do. And just project it, and we're gonna change the material on it because it's too flashy to something a bit toned down. And there you go. And I got a nice, very simple detail that actually, you know, stands out. We could add some bolts in here or not, just to make it a bit more, you know, a bit more interesting. So, you know, add some bolts, maybe one here, right? And maybe even one here. Okay. Okay, and then project them and make them darker. Boom. You see what I mean? And, you know, and you could even have something on the top. You could make the wall in the back, right? This one darker. So we're gonna assign some new mud. So Alt M blank mud. There we go. And make it darker. Yeah. Oh, this is not gonna go so dark. Okay. Let's make it metallic and increase the roughness, and then drop it down to something darker, not black but darker. And I got this background that literally acts as a detail, because now you get this contrast here between these two elements. So without adding anything, you literally created a detail because of the contrast, right? You see what I mean? And all these things now here and here and here, they pop because of that, right? And you could still add some detail on top, you know, if you really wanted to. For example, you could go to our Blender Bros vent pack, and where is it? And we could drop, where is it? This one, right? So I'll just adjust it, make it smaller. Drop one here, Shift X, one here, and then project them, right? Boom, and there you go. Okay, and you get this nice area of calmness here, right? And you get concentrated details around, and a different level. Okay, you got you know, secondary details, tertiary details, etc. So this is really, you know, the way to go. If this is too bright, you know, switch it to black. Maybe black's gonna be better, right? I think brighter is better. It actually stands out. There you go. See? And if you now, you know, the bottom doesn't really look that bad now, because it's less crazy. Now these lights, right, they just way too big. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, you know, turn them off, and I'm going to select these and insert them, right, and then assign. Okay, and this is much better because it just doesn't overpower. It's like overpowering the window, right? It just makes no sense. It's just too big. Okay, so you know, remove this mod here and the same here. Okay, select these two and insert them, and then assign. Okay, another thing is that you don't need to, right, you don't need to have lights. Let me just turn this off. Come on, Control plus, there we go, here. Okay, cool. Now we're gonna select these two, scale them, and in fact I'm gonna assign it just to one of them, and same here, scale this, okay, and assign to one of them. You want some, you know, some differentiation, some you don't want all the lights to work. I mean, this corridor is in maintenance, so you could just switch some of them off, right? So there we go. That's already better. Cool. Okay, 7 at the top, right? It's just too many of them. I would remove probably half of them, right? Not gonna be doing it, but you know, just saying. And then let's talk about lighting, okay? Now I'm not sure what you rendered it in, probably cycles, or actually I think it was Eevee. Let me see that. Yeah, that's Eevee. Let's grab Eevee, right? And let's talk about it. So first of all, you got this starry sky going on in the background, and this is why your image is so dark, because you simply don't have any HDRI in here, I'm guessing, right? So the problem is, right, that your scene is simply too dark. So what I would do is, you know, remove this thing, and you don't need it. Okay, let's redo this from scratch. So let's turn these two off. I mean on, sorry, in cycles. We're gonna add world output, and then we're gonna add background, and then we're going to add the Control T, and we're gonna add some HDRI. Brilliant. And then we're going to make it transparent. So now we can, you know, reduce the lighting here in a scene to like maybe 0.1. Okay, cool. We're also gonna add some volumetrics because it's gonna look better, and reduce the volumetrics to maybe something like 0.02. Not cycles, we need to go to Eevee. There we go. Okay, let's make it 0.02. Where's my camera? Here. Right, the camera needs to get reset because that's not good. So 1080, there we go. Assign to lock to view, and we're also gonna change the angle a little bit, okay? Maybe something like this. And angle it this way, right? So let me see. Maybe something like this. Okay. Alright, let's unlock it and let's see. Volumetrics are a bit too strong, so we're gonna drop it down. Not 0.2, 0.1. It's acceptable. So Now we need to work on the color. The volumetrics could be a bit more bluish. There we go. And these lights are way too strong, right? So, you know, we're gonna drop them down, okay? So, drop them down. Also, we need to turn on all the jars in here because we're missing a lot of info. Screen space reflections for sure, and refraction. Volumetrics at 2 for better quality, volumetric shadows. Now we're talking. So now these lights are way too strong, right? So let's go back here and let's just reduce them. Come on. There we go. Something like this would do, okay? We will need some lights on the top, and quite frankly, I would just let's just remove this and let me grab this material 17. I'm going to apply material 18 so it's darker. There we go. And I'm gonna introduce my own lights, so I'm going to simply grab area lights and bring them up, go to the top view and bring them up here, make them larger, and shift Alt D, it's important, Alt D and Shift R, Shift R, Shift R, okay? And now go back to camera view, and if I select one of them, all of them gonna get updated. Now the problem is that we need to move them up. I didn't know that it's so low, so let's grab them all and GZ and move them up so they're outside the camera view, okay? That's important. And we're going to select one of them and change power to something like, I don't know, 500. That will do. In fact, there's too many lights. Let's remove every second of them. That's cool. And this glass, right, needs to be darker, so it's actually doesn't, it's not see-through glass. I want it to be dark, and I'll tell you later why. That's what I want. Perfect. And let me see this. Now, if I was, just give you a tip, if I was, you know, adding lights to the scene like this, right, you want to run planes like this, okay, in front of emissive lights, okay? So you would want a plane here, light, area light, pointing this way, okay? I'm not gonna do it, but it was just simply, actually, you know, we could do it with one. So let's just grab a one light and, you know, Shift D this, and go here, select the surface, move the cursor over there, move this one to cursor, and now we're going to rotate it on, where's my, there we go, on Z axis like this, make it smaller, right? Okay, and then we're gonna rotate it on X like this, right? And this is what I would do for every single light, and move it GZZ, move it in front and make it a bit smaller, so SYXX, I think, yeah, SXX, make it smaller, and move it to, you know, Alt D X and move it in here, and they're gonna be too strong because, you know, they from the ceiling, but let's just look at that. Yeah, they're too strong, but you get the point. You see, then now you get this kind of like a light spill, and you could change color of them, you know, to something, you know, a bit more interesting, like this, for example, right? And you got this yellowish sort of, this a bit too strong. Yeah, kind of like a warmish light coming on here, and sort of hazy bluish cyan volumetric, which is pretty cool. And you see now the difference between this wall and this wall, right? Now then, you got these lights on the bottom. I think it would be good to balance this with lights on the top. So what I would do is simply grab a, let's just grab a decal here and make it smaller. Move it somewhere here. And shift the X and move it in here, right? And just leave it there. And there you go. See now, you got this bounce back up. I'm not keen about on this reflection here. That really pisses me off, to be honest. But there you go. It's a glass, so it's gonna reflect. You know, I'm just not crazy about this reflection here. This could be removed in Photoshop, by the way. But there you go. So anyway, let's just look at this, right? That looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. Now we don't have any shadows in here, which kind of worries me. So let's go to settings and see the shadow quality. Shadows. Let's go with some good quality shadows. Also these crates, right? Let's go with trick to material here. Maybe them a bit more rough. Maybe less specular. And maybe darker. Something like this. Like I said, this is a little bit too big, you know, it just overpowers the whole structure. So I will really make it smaller. In fact, you know what we're gonna do? Let's just fix it, shall we? So let's remove, let's actually make this smaller, right? And move it in here, okay? And let's remove these bollocks. Let's grab this one because it's tiny. And Shift D, move it in here. And rotate it on Z. And, you know, Z, boom, here. And move it somewhere here. And let's unparent it because it's actually parented to something. And we need to straighten this up. So in fact we could go to rotation and where is it? Rotation Z90. There we go. And let's move it here on Y a little bit. Okay, cool. And now we can just simply array this, right? So array it on this axis, right, like that, and simply change the number of arrays. Let's just turn off the bevel for a second. Change the number of arrays to, I don't know, a lot, right? And there you go. Okay, we don't need bevel for this one because it's just barely visible. You see, it's just no point. And that looks a little bit better, yeah. So, you know, also this doesn't lay on the floor, I think, does it? Yeah. GZ and just drop it down like this. And this one is a bit too high, so GZ and drop it into the floor. There you go. See, now you're talking. Now you're talking. All right. And of course one should be missing in here. So what we can do is apply the array, right? And simply, you know, Control L and P and just remove one. Okay, and there you go. Right? And then, you know, it's just, you see what I mean? It just doesn't overpower the whole scene. It's not, now looks like the scale is in check and everything is fine. So if you compare this side of the wall, right, and this side of the wall, you will see what I said, that there's way too much detail. And even these repetitive details here, I would just, you know, take care of this, right? I'm not gonna do it, but just saying that I would do that. All right. So let's just power save this before Blender decides to crash. We can close this one, and we probably could render this, you know. So yeah, we're gonna get some issues from Eevee, but don't worry about it. I think this should be fine. Well, we're not looking too good. We could actually do something. We could actually move this camera a bit further away. So let's lock it to view and let's just, do a bit of a more of a panoramic shot. Let me just turn this off. And there you go, something like this, maybe a bit more angled. You have viewport shadows. Control V. Yeah, turn the shadows off, mate. This is just completely ruining your day in terms of performance. The shadows. Doesn't matter what machine you're running, what graphic card you have. It's always gonna be a bit of a disaster. So maybe something like this. Okay, let's just render this. See how we're looking. Now it's just all about fine-tuning the framing, right? It's not too bad. I still don't like these elements on top, I'm just gonna remove them. Let me just remove this. How are we looking here? Yeah, I got these holes in here. I'm not gonna be closing them off, but it would look better if this ceiling was just basically a little bit less crazy on the top, right? So I'm not gonna be fixing this, but there's way too many lamps, way too much stuff going on the top, and eyes just simply go there, and there's no point of going there because it's the end of the image, right? You don't want to put details, See, now it looks much more calm. Yeah, there's something there, but it's just doesn't pull your eyes over there. This really annoys me. What the hell is this? Is this light here, isn't it? Yeah, this one. We need to fix this. So what we need to do is move this light in on x-axis, right? So GX, come on. Select the light, GX, and move it in. Move it in somewhere here, and this one, let's move in. GX, move it in. Whoa, not this one. The light, GX, and move it somewhere here. That's gonna be better. You don't want these attention pulling details in corners, yeah? You want everything to be centralized around the point of interest, which is the window. But this is much better, you see. That's much better. This is still a bit too strong, in my opinion. Maybe you could just lift it up a bit. So let's see that. GZ, move it up a bit. Could be better. See again. See, it's more diffused. Now it's better. Now attention is back here. This really freaking annoys me. See, that thing here really annoys me. And this is not ideal, but I'm not gonna be fixing this. But if I were to properly, doing it properly out, like for a portfolio or something, this would be a goner, right? I would remove this. But anyway, now the reason why I have a black window, see, is because we're gonna add stars in Photoshop because it's easier. So we're gonna save this, and in downloads, that's fine. Also, when you want to save a file, right, you don't want to save it as PNG. You want to save it as TIFF, okay? So change to TIFF and 16-bit for sure. You don't need alpha for this one, but we're gonna need alpha for the next one. So I'm just gonna simply render it like that and save it. Okay, so that's the main save, right? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this and camera. So camera and the frame. Control I, delete everything, and render again. Okay, so now let me show you. I'm going to bring both to Photoshop, right? And I'm gonna grab this one, shift, and drop it in here. Grab this quick selection and come on. There we go. Select everything, right? And just deselect this. There we go. And put a mask on it. And go here and hide it. control click on the mask and boom, and then control I. We're gonna invert it, and in internet we're going to search for star sky and go to images, and well, we can grab something like this, for example. There we go, and just drop it here. It's way too big, so we're gonna make it smaller. And so now what we're gonna do is I'll click on the mask here to make it black, and control click on this mask, shift control I to invert it, and we're gonna grab a brush, white, and make it whatever percentage you want, and just simply paint in the middle here, right? Star sky. You have to be precise. I'm not gonna be precise. We definitely need to work on this image a little bit, right? So first of all, what we're gonna do is make it less crazy. So saturation, alt click to clip it, reduce the saturation of this thing, right? And there you go. It doesn't match in color and in contrast. I'm not gonna be matching this, but you should be. Let me see, something like this maybe, right? There you go, more or less, right? And we could just simply drop the opacity and fill on it. So where is it? This one. Just make it less crazy. There you go. See, a bit more hazy or whatnot. By the way, you get the point, right? And then we're just gonna run filters on top of it, right? Just to blend it. So create some filters. There you go. And this should be a bit more hazy, to be honest. So what we could do now, right, is grab this layer and simply screen blend, and this should fix our problem, right? So now you can pop the stars through a little bit more, and then what we're gonna do is filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. And we're gonna blur this a bit, not too much, just a bit, so it's kind of, out of focus. Maybe that's too much, but you get the point. And then we can play with this, right? So you can just bring it to filter. I'm gonna use Nick because why not? If you don't have Nick, you could use camera raw filter and play here with clarity and stuff. Make it a bit more interesting, add more vibrance and a bit more contrast, right? And it starts coming together. But there you go. So you could easily blend it in Photoshop, and like I said, this is really annoying, this glass. But there you go. See, so if you now compare the right side, right, with the left side, you'll see my point. Also, the scaling is a little bit better. The bumps are gone, lights are a bit more controlled. There's a feel of this being during maintenance, because not all the lights are working. Breaking the symmetry is the key, right? I don't know what the hell is this, but it's probably some hole in the ceiling or something. It's easy to fix. You just simply select all of it and go to edit, content aware fill, and you're done. Sorted. And you got all holes in here. So you would need to put some kind of a plane behind it. You had a dark sky, but we removed the sky, so you need to fix this. So what you could do basically is you could go here and control click on the layer and fill it with black and sort it. See, done. This sky is a little bit, the stars are a bit too blurred, but oh wait, we added this image here, right? So we're gonna have to go here, camera raw filter, and simply run a clarity brush on it. So let's reset these brushes here, add clarity, and just run clarity here just on the stars, right? Man, I hate this new Photoshop interface. It really pisses me off. I don't know, it's just annoying. Just run a clarity on it and maybe some texture. There you go. Boom. Maybe it's a bit too crazy, but you know, you could simply copy this, add a filter with Control Alt F, and just, you know, adjust this effect here with the slider. Well, that's it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the vid. Give us a like and sub if you did. Like I said, we on Patreon as Blender Bros together with Josh, and this is critiques, a part of tier 2. So tier 2 and tier 3 getting critiques every month. So, you know, check out Patreon. Lots of cool stuff over there. This light also annoys me here in the corner. See, the stuff like this you want to get rid of. Okay, I just noticed it. So what I would do, yeah, I would just simply remove it. So I would run another layer, go to clone stamp tool, and maybe just clone stamp this thing out of existence. There we go, that's much better. See, like without it, boom, it just annoys me. See what I mean? Those tiny details, man, like this thing in the corner too, that annoys me too. I'll just remove it. Boom. And this is actually a cool way of, like if I removed every, I don't know, not maybe every second one, but let's remove, you know, part of them, right? And let's remove these. I'll show you how much better this is gonna look. So let's remove these. I'm doing a terrible job right now. Just can't be bothered to do it properly, but just very quickly, you know, just remove these. So it just becomes a bit more calm, you know. It's just too much, man. Remove these two. Come on. And remove this one. There you go. See what I mean? Look, the difference. Right? Same here. Now I'll get rid of this. And these two. I'll just, you know, I'll just stick with the ones on the top. So like that. See, it's just a bit calmer. So anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you next video, guys.